This is Mokchugunda Visvesvarya, the first known Indian engineer. His birth anniversary is celebrated each year as Engineers Day. Did you know? More than 1.5 million engineers graduate in India every year, and over 80% of them are unemployed. So, why is India so obsessed with producing engineers? One of the reasons can be that engineering is a professional qualification which forms a safety net in career terms, and this is a great attraction in a society in which poverty is still rife. But there's got to be something more. First group of people in India to identify themselves by the English term engineer was the East India Company's Corps of Military Engineers. In the mid-19th century, as colonial rule began to consolidate itself, a separate civilian PWD was established. They were nearly all imported from Britain. The bureaucratic organization of PWD was similar to the civil services, and the engineers working in them saw themselves as officers as much as technical experts. Character was emphasized more than technical skills. British policymakers argued that the Indian engineers did not possess the integrity, courage, and resourcefulness of the European colleagues. For the native Indian engineers who did succeed in the government services, and increasing number did post-First World War, their job came with great prestige precisely because of their status as government administrators. This, we may argue, is one of the main reasons why engineering carried great prestige. K.L. Rao, a famous hydraulic engineer turned minister, recorded in his memoirs that he trained as an engineer in the pre-independence period because his, and I quote, brother was observing in my village the state style in which the officers of the irrigation department were living and the launches and boats in which the officers were traveling in the Masulipatnam canal near our village. Thus, we can see how much character is emphasized. Circumstances during First World War opened the colonial government's eyes to the need for developing India's industrial capabilities, and in the years between the world wars, the government relaxed its laissez-faire stance and began to introduce some pro-industrial policies, including protective tariffs for selected Indian industries. In 1900, the profession had been dominated by government employees. By the 1940s, a substantial proportion of engineers were working in private industries, and the proportion of Indians in the profession had risen considerably. Professional institutions provide the key. Until First World War, engineers working in India, both Brits and Indians, aimed to join one or more of three prestigious professional societies in London: the Institution of Civil Engineers, the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, the Institution of Electrical Engineers. They discussed technical papers and published the proceedings in journals. Increasingly, engineers in India began to feel cut off from these societies and formed a new one, the Institution of Engineers, India, headquartered in Calcutta in 1920. The new professional institutions helped engineers in India forge a common identity. They evolved a common language of economic nationalism and the role of engineers in promoting the country's development. As the historian Daniel Clinton Smith has ably shown, the Indians who now came to prominence saw themselves as building not just dams but also the nation. After the end of the Second World War and before India got independence, Sir Ardeshir Dalal from the Viceroy's Executive Council foresaw that the future prosperity of India would depend not so much on capital as on technology. He, therefore, proposed the setting up of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. He conceptualized institutions that would train such workforces in the country itself. This is believed to be the first conceptualization of IITs. Dr. Humayun Kabir encouraged Dr. B.C. Roy, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, to work on Sir Ardeshir's proposal for an IIT. Dr. Kabir, along with Sir Jogendra Singh of the Viceroy's Executive Council, set up a committee to prepare a proposal and made Sir Nalini Sarkar the chairman. The Sarkar committee was taking too much time, but Dr. Roy did not wait for the committee to finalize its report and started working on the interim draft itself. The 22-member committee, in its interim draft, recommended the establishment of higher technical institutions in eastern, western, northern, and southern regions of the country. The standard of the graduates was recommended to be at par with those from elite institutions abroad. L.S. Chandrakant and AbhiMan Sen in the Education Ministry played a significant role in producing a blueprint for truly autonomous educational institutions. Sir J.C. Ghosh, the first director of IIT Kharagpur, ensured liberal provisions of the IIT Act, allowing the IITs to work free from nitpicking interference from the Babudam. On the ground, Bengal had the highest concentration of engineering industries. The committee suggested that an IIT may be set up in that state. With the recommendations of the Sarkar committee in view and on the basis of blueprint made by L.S. Chandrakant, AbhiMan Sen and Sir J.C. Ghosh, the first IIT was born in May 1950 at the site of Hijli detention camp in Kharagpur. Initially, the IIT started functioning from 5 Esplanade East, Kolkata and shifted to Hijli detention in September 1950. On 15 September 1956, the Parliament of India passed the Institute of Technology Kharagpur Act declaring it as an institute of national importance. Jawaharlal Nehru, in the first convocation address of IIT Kharagpur in 1956, said, and I quote, "Here in the place of that Hijli detention camp stands the fine monument of India, representing India's urges, India's future in the making. This picture seems to me symbolical of the changes that are coming to India." On October 4, 1957 at 7:28 p.m., something happened that changed the history and future. Soviet Union launched the first artificial Earth satellite. The successful launch came as a shock to the experts and citizens in the United States. And in 1965, though a combination of political, social, and geopolitical factors led to the passage of the landmark Immigration and Nationality Act that created a new system favoring family reunification and skilled immigrants. Since the enactment of 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act, immigration has been dominated by Asians and Latin Americans, writes pewresearch.org. India's IT sector was yet to witness the liberalization and explosive growth. Indian educational institutions were also far less equipped than their American counterparts, making a stop at American school an important career development step. The earliest bunch of engineers who went to America did extremely well, not just for themselves but also for America, and paved the way for future engineers to come from India, so much so that kids these days take up engineering so that they can go abroad. The pre-independence association with government jobs and high status combined with the post-independence link to nation building may go some way to explaining the prestige of engineering in this diverse country. I personally know some people who took up engineering because their parents told them to and they just wanted to leave their home. They didn't had any intuition about engineering. Some even took up engineering because they thought engineering will make them earn more money, and for some they didn't had a choice. No wonder why so many engineers are unemployed. Anyways, if you watched the whole way through the video, congratulations, you are one of the few who have found out the reason for India's obsession with engineering. Now I'll end this video. If you like the video, hit like button and don't forget to comment your views. Thanks for watching this video. You have been watching AbhiMan. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I really hope you learned something from this video.